The sun is a memory, a pale, sickly disk veiled by a sky that is no longer blue, but the color of a dead fire. For 3 days, a thin, grey powder has fallen, a silent, ceaseless snow that does not melt. It clings to the gnarled branches of the acacia, blankets the savannah in a shroud of dust, and coats the town with a bitter grit. This is the new world. This is prehistoric life stripped to its essence, a long slow motion emergency. The clan, 23 strong, huddles under a rock overhang. Their world shrunk to the radius of their small, struggling fire. The old matriarch, her face a mask of deep carved lines, stares out at the grey expanse. Her entire life, the sun has been a god of predictable, life-giving force. Now it is a ghost. Her authority, built on a lifetime of reading the seasons and the movements of the great herds, is shaken. There is no memory for this, no story from the ancestors to guide them. A young male, his muscles taut with the nervous energy of the hunt, scrapes the edge of an aquiline hand axe against a stone. The sharp clack-clack a small, defiant sound against the oppressive silence. He looks to the lead hunter, a broad-shouldered male whose gaze is fixed on the horizon. They need meat. The last of the scavenged gazelle is gone, and the gnawing in their bellies has become a dull, constant ache. The lead hunter gives a short, sharp nod. The hunt must go on, even if the world is ending. As the hunting party prepares to leave, one of the elders, his back stooped with age but his eyes still sharp, shuffles to the edge of the stream that has always been their lifeblood. He dips a finger into the water, tastes it, and spits violently. He turns, his face contorted, and makes a series of sharp, guttural sounds, pointing at the water and then shaking his head. He grabs a handful of the grey dust from the ground and mimics drinking it, then clutches his stomach. The message is clear. A brilliant flash of deductive reasoning in a moment of crisis. It is a critical moment in hominid history, though they have no name for it. They only know that one of their oldest certainties, the safety of the stream, is now another threat in this new, grey world of the Pleistocene. The hunters leave, their thirst now a fear that rivals their hunger. To search for clean water as much as for blood, they move as a unit. A small, fragile pack of early humans against a world that has turned against them. The hunters return days later, their shoulders slumped not with the weight of meat, but with the burden of failure. The great herds of Paleoloxodon, the stray-tusked elephants that were the bedrock of their existence, have vanished. The plains are a silent, grey desert, populated only by ghosts in the fine, choking dust. Their search for clean water yielded only a stagnant, scum-covered pool miles away, a temporary reprieve that cannot sustain them here. The fire, their tether to life, now consumes the last of their gathered wood. Hunger has passed from a dull ache into a sharp, dizzying weakness. The smallest children no longer cry. They make a thin, whimpering sound, a noise that cuts deeper than any wail. The cost of this new world is being counted in breaths. The old matriarch lies by the dying embers. Her breathing is shallow, rasping battle against the ash in her lungs. She was the clan's memory, the living library of their lore. No, she is a weight they cannot carry. The lead hunter watches her, his face unreadable stone. He then looks at the young mother struggling to quiet her child, and at the dwindling pile of scavenged roots. An unspoken consensus forms, a terrible and necessary truth that passes through the group in glances and stillness. To remain is to die together. To move is to leave a part of their soul behind. This is the grim calculus of survival, a brutal equation that is a cornerstone of human evolution. The next morning, as the weak light struggles to pierce the gloom, they depart. The matriarch's eldest daughter leaves a single, perfectly nabbled flint knife by her mother's side in the skin of precious, clean water. It is a useless gesture, and a profoundly human one, an act of love in the face of the inevitable. They walk into the grey emptiness, a straggling line of ancient humans on a dying land. Each step is an effort. The world is leached of colour and life. Days blur into a monotonous cycle of walking and shivering. They are hunters without prey, ghosts on a starving landscape. Then, the young male, the toolmaker, stops. He points not to the horizon, but to the ground, a series of small, disturbed mounds of earth. He crouches, his focus absolute, and plunges his arm deep into the soft, ashen soil. He pulls out a large, struggling molarette. It is a paltry offering compared to the feasts of the past, but it is alive, intelligent sparks. He finds a long, straight branch and hardens its tip in the embers of a carried brand. He has just modified one of his ancient tools, turning a walking stick into a probe, or spear. Others watch, learn, and imitate. The great hunt is dead. The small, desperate search has begun. It is a shift born not of choice, but of extinction's cold pressure. By a meager fire that night, they roast the small creatures. The smell of cooked meat a forgotten luxury. They are still hungry. They are still cold, but they are alive. The small hunts are not enough. The mole rats and lizards are morsels, not meals. And the volcanic winter deepens its grip, leaching the warmth from their very bones. The cold is a predator now, silent and tireless. A new kind of desperation sets in, a fear not of the quick death in the predator's jaws, but of the slow, grinding fade into nothing. During a scouting trip, the young toolmaker, now gone but with an obsessive focus in his eyes, follows a fissure in the rock. It is not a scent of prey that draws him, but something else entirely. A faint, sulfuric warmth breathing from the earth itself. Probed, a long-dormant instinct, flickers. He leads the others to the source, a dark, gaping mouth in the hillside, a wound in the stone that whispers of heat. They approach with caution. The entrance is huge, littered with immense bones, some old, some disturbingly fresh. Inside, the air is thick with the musk of a colossal predator. Deep, gouged lines, the length of a man's arm, scar the stone walls. This is a den, but the warmth beckons, a promise of life in the freezing dark. To turn back is a death sentence. To enter is to face a god of this underworld. The late hunter looks at his clan, a small band of Homo erectus on the edge of extinction. He sees the shivering children and the haunted eyes of the adults. The choice is made. This is their final gamble. Their collective knowledge of survival skills, honed over 1,000,000 years, will be put to its ultimate test. Their plan is a masterpiece of silent communication and communal strategy, a living diorama for the future study of anthropology. They do not need words. The lead hunter mimes the beast, the fire, the spears. The clan divides. The fastest youth gather dry grass and resinous wood, crafting a dozen heavy torches. The strongest hunters sharpen their wooden spears, their flint tips gleaming in the grey light. The others collect loose stones, piling them at the entrance. It is an act of supreme foresight, a community mobilizing its every strength against a single, overwhelming threat. That night, a small group creates a clamor. At a secondary opening they discovered higher up the hill, hurling rocks into the darkness to draw the occupant. As the deep, guttural roar of an enraged cape bear echoes from within, the lead hunter and his team plunge into the main entrance, their torches flooding the cavern with a terrifying, dancing light. The beast, a mountain of foe and rage, turns back, blinded and confused. They do not fight it, they herd it with fire and fear. A coordinated wall of flame and shouting that drives the panicked animal deeper into the labyrinthine tunnels. One hunter stumbles, and in a flush of claw and fury, he's thrown against the rock wall. He does not rise. The price is paid. They press the attack, forcing the bear into the deep recesses, before retreating to the main chamber and lighting a massive, defensive bonfire at the entrance to the inner tunnels. They have not killed the beast. They have merely claimed the antechamber. But it is enough. It is warm. It is safe. Huddled in the life-giving heat, licking their wounds and mourning their dead. They are no longer just a clan. They are survivors who have stolen a home from the dark. We pull back from the flickering firelight, From the exhausted figures huddled in the stolen warmth of the cave, we ascend through the layers of time, leaving this single, desperate clan of human ancestors to their hard-won sanctuary. Their victory was not one of conquest but of cunning. It was not strength of muscle that secured their future, but the strength of the bond between them, their shared intelligence, their willingness to sacrifice, their capacity for abstract planning. This is the quiet, unglamorous crucible of our becoming. In that dark cavern, under a poisoned sky, they answered the profound question of their age: when the world dies, you must create a new one, held together by trust and lit by courage. The patterns of their cooperation, the ghost of their fire, the echo of their loss, these are not relics of a forgotten world. They are the bedrock of ours. Look around at the structures of your own life, at the communities you build, the knowledge you share, the instinct to protect your own against the encroaching dark. How much of our modern soul was forged in the desperate warmth of a prehistoric cave? The chronicle is written not in ink, but in the silence between heartbeats. Listen closely. But on another continent, the ice was speaking a different language.